So, of course, we always start with our comparative analysis. So today, we're going to start with Fox News. I wanted to show you this, all right? I'm showing you. This is the headline, okay? Fox News and CNN both do some shady nonsense when it comes to their headlines, okay? I want you to pay attention to this, okay? Chinese spy airship spotted over major U.S. city as pressure mounts on president to act. That's the headline on their main page. So if you go to the Fox News webpage, this is what it would show you, right? However, if you click, all of a sudden, that changes. I don't know why they always autoplay. Dumb. But that changes now, right? You can see that now it's where is the Chinese spy balloon, right? The airship spotted flying over North Carolina. But if we literally just go back, all of a sudden there's pressure for the president to act. Ooh, right? So it's always spookier when they put it on the main page for, I don't know, I couldn't imagine a reason for it. No. Oh, couldn't think of one. So of course they're doing it for clicks and to get people wound up, because most people are going to see that and think nothing else other than what they see there. They're not going to come read the article like we're going to do, right? So unfortunately, with the Chinese spy balloon being such a big thing, that's all we're covering in our news today, right? We'll talk about other stuff when we get on to our pool watch and our other segments, but where is the Chinese spy balloon now? So the suspected Chinese spy balloon, which has slowly transitioned across the United States over the last 2 days, now sits above North Carolina. Footage captured by Fox News Saturday morning showed the balloon sitting just above Charlotte, North Carolina around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, makes sense. It's going that direction if it's potentially leaving. An image of the balloon hovering over Fairfield, North Carolina, was also shared by a meteorology student, Evan Fisher, early Saturday morning. Okay? Chinese spy balloon sighting. Then he has all of the stats, where it's going. The updated location of the suspected surveillance device comes after Defense Department spokesman Brigadier General, I'm assuming is Brigadier General, Pat Ryder said Friday that the balloon, which China claims is a civilian reconnaissance airship that inadvertently drifted off course, had changed its course and moved to the central part of the country. Nothing shady about that one. Photos shared Friday evening by the National Weather Service in Kansas City, Missouri, showed what appeared to be the balloon, which was at first reported to be hovering over Montana, visible from its office in Pleasant Hill, that appeared to be headed southeast. We have confirmed that it was not an NWS weather balloon, NWS Kansas City said. The Pentagon, amid steady pushback from Republican lawmakers who are keeping an eye on the situation, said that it considered taking down the possible threat from China, but ultimately decided against any action due to this risk of safety and security of people on the ground from the possible debris field. Makes sense. If it's flying over major cities, even in minor states, you could say, but major cities, you're looking at potentially thousands of casualties if it hits the ground and it's not controlled when it hits the ground, right? So instead, just let it go. Because it's not, when we think balloon, typically we're thinking like something we could fit, right? We're thinking like the balloons that lift the house and up, you know? Uh, but this thing's huge, and apparently the surveillance device underneath of it is like 3 bus lengths, right? So you don't want to shoot something down that is 3 bus lengths, right? Like that's huge, right? And if you shoot that down and it just goes pummeling straight to the ground without any sort of intervention, that's going to be disastrous, right? So generally speaking, you wouldn't want to shoot it down unless you can control where it's going to land. The balloon, which Reuters said Friday will probably be over the United States for a few days, was reportedly flying about 60,000 feet above sea level, higher than a civilian aircraft can fly. Senior State Department officials have called the incident unacceptable, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken has indefinitely postponed a planned trip to China to meet President Xi Jinping in light of the circumstances. Oof. I don't know if I would cancel it if I was Blinken. I'd go over there, even if it was initially to be like a fair and fun, like good little negotiation or whatever. I'm going over there and I'm gonna be like, excuse me, Mr. Jinping, Mr. Xi, what the fuck is this? But I get it, canceling it is a show of like power or whatever. Several governors, including Missouri GOP Governor Mike Parson and Montana GOP Governor Greg Gianforte, have expressed frustration over the Biden administration's lack of communication as the balloon traversed American airspace. We have received zero communication from the Biden administration regarding reports of the suspected Chinese spy balloon now flying over Missouri, Parson wrote in a tweet on Friday. Oh, it's a tweet. It is factually correct if it's a tweet. You know that, guys. Know that. Guarantee it. You can't just like say anything on the internet. We have heard no explanation or plan to remove it. Why has this been allowed to reach our heartland? Why has it not been eliminated? Now, I think it's fair to want some sort, like, if, well, I'll be fair, right? If in some case, for whatever reason, there has been no communication between the Defense Department and Congress, I do think it would be important for Congress to have information on what's going on generally. But the issue is that that's part of the balance of power, right? So, like, we can get all upset all the time and say that Congress should know. But if you look at the way the balance of power works, the executive branch is the one that's supposed to be carrying out all of the laws that have been enacted, right? Our president is the head of state, but he's also the commander in chief. So any military operation that goes on that's not an open declaration of war goes through him first, and typically only through him, right? Through the Department of Defense, all the people down the line, Army generals, and then, all the way down lieutenants to privates, everything, right? It all goes all the way back up to Biden. So if Biden has a problem with it, or if it was Trump's term and Trump had a problem with it, they would be able to unanimously stop that. Make sense? So you kind of got to look at the balance of power and see, like, in this case, as much as I agree that I would like to have more information and I would like to see more done, it kind of is overstepping Congress's bounds to say that Congress deserves or needs some sort of information about this. They don't actually. But understandable. They can always put an investigation in, at some point they can like set up a committee for an investigation to whether or not Biden was colluding with China or whatever Republicans will say this time. Similar to Gianforte, during a Saturday morning appearance on Fox and Friends Weekend, Saturday morning appearance on Fox and Friends, similar. Gianforte, during a Saturday morning appearance on Fox and Friends Weekend, blasted Biden's administration communication about the balloon. Which is, sure, I get it. You want more info. You're not entitled to it, but it makes sense that you would want more. We're informed through our National Guard, Gianforte said. We knew nothing about this until this slow-moving balloon was hundreds of miles into the state. It had already flown over military installations, and it was over our most populous city in the state. Senior U.S. Senior U.S. defense official told Fox News the balloon was launched from mainland China. The Pentagon does not believe that this was a weather balloon that flew off course, as China initially claimed. There was no force majeure that caused the Chinese surveillance balloon to enter the airspace, or enter U.S. airspace, as China's foreign ministry spokesperson had said. This was intentional, the senior US official said. So, pretty vague and ambiguous terms coming out of Fox News, and I think it's because since they haven't been told specifically what's going on, they don't want to step on somebody's toes and say the wrong thing. But we'll see what has actually happened as we go on, because remember, like I said, everyone's covering this. So, from CNN, and this is what I was saying, CNN's pulling the same shit, okay? Suspected Chinese spy balloon could exit the US today. That's the exact inverse of the nonsense that we were told by Fox News. Fox News says there is mounting pressure on the president to act, to shoot down the balloon, right? And this one's like, it'll just go away. It'll just go away. So they've got entirely conflicting headlines for their primary story, right? But again, the headline is just the latest on the Chinese spy balloon over the US. So once
Brothers did not.
See what I mean? Autoplay with ads every time. The latest on Chinese spy balloon over the US. So it changes from the more eye-catchy thing, right? The thing you want to see, to something less extreme if you actually click on it, which I think is kind of shady, personally. That's just me, though. Biden says administration will take care of suspected Chinese balloon. All right. So there's a couple of updates here. I'm probably not reading all of these. All right. I'm not taking up all the time that I have just reading spy balloon shit. Okay. President Joe Biden said his administration will handle a suspected Chinese spy balloon traversing the eastern United States. We're gonna take care of it, Biden said. When questioned by CNN's Sam Fossum on whether he would shoot down the balloon. Biden has been discussing options with the military brass since first being briefed on the balloon Tuesday. His advisors warned against shooting it down over land because debris could land on people or homes. Biden was speaking at an airfield in Syracuse, New York, where he was visiting his family. So I want you to see this. Military brass, right? He's been discussing with military brass. Now, I don't know who the military brass is, but his advisors said exactly what I said. Shooting it down might not be a good idea because the thing is huge and we don't want it landing on people or destroying their homes. As much as conservatives are up in arms right now, like losing their mind that he's not acting, could you imagine if he shot it down when it was over Montana and it like came down and debris like broke a couple of conservative houses? Imagine the shitstorm we would see. Like, Biden ignores military defense, ignores military brass, top officials telling him not to shoot down Chinese balloon, does it anyway, kills conservatives. Like, that's the shit we'd be seeing, right? So I think having kind of a hands-off approach here is fine, right? Either way, he's going to get shit from one side of the aisle, probably shit from both sides of the aisle, but meteorology student describes spotting balloon over North Carolina. Evan Fisher, a meteorology major at UNC Asheville, saw the suspected Chinese surveillance balloon drift near the western North Carolina city this morning. Okay. We were expecting it to move over western North Carolina between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., but then to our surprise, it didn't show up until after sunrise. So I spotted it around 8:50 a.m. this morning in the southern skies of just south of Asheville, it says. The balloon was much larger than I expected it to be. Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying. It's huge. The thing's massive. Has this sort of thing happened before? Here's a look at China's history on spying of the U.S. Okay. While the suspected Chinese spy balloon floating over the U.S., the continental United States is dominating current headlines. Beijing and Washington have a long history of spying on each other. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of self-explanatory, right? I guarantee we got shit going on over there, too. The U.S. has used its own surveillance methods in China, including flying aircraft over disputed islands claimed by Beijing, using human sources and monitoring signal intercepts. The American officials have sought to distinguish U.S. actions from what they say is more brazen spying carried out by China's government. Oh, shit. All right. So we're not arguing the morality of spying right now. That's not that's not the conversation we're having. The conversation we're having is, strictly speaking, whether or not you're too ballsy and too open about your spying. Oh no. Oh man, that's so fucking silly. More brazen spying. That's wild, dude. But Chinese officials say a similar thing, repeatedly accusing the US of espionage. Can we just accept that it's happening on both sides? Be like, hey, yeah, that was our spy balloon. Get your spies out of our country too. Like, can we not, like, this is like everyone's putting on a theater act that everyone sees through. Like, I can't get over it, dude. Like, everyone knows everyone spies on everyone. Like, this is something that everyone knows. I know it. Everyone watching me knows it. Everyone watching Steven Crowder and Tim Pool know it. Everyone watching fucking CNN, Fox News, anyone who sits in their basement with a tinfoil hat. We all know that the US and China spy on each other. Like, we know that. So, like, how about we stop being so fake about all of it and just say outright, like, yeah, we got spies, so do you. Deal with it. Balloons and satellites. A U.S. official said Friday there have been several other spy balloons spotted over Hawaii and Guam in recent years, but it's not clear why China would want to use a balloon rather than a satellite to gather information. Modern satellite technology has enabled the gathering of overflight intelligence data from space, and Beijing already uses that technology to monitor the US, according to the Pentagon. So, like, this balloon is just, it's basically a red herring. They already have superior technology and are using it. So, what are we doing? Some cell phone towers around the US still use Chinese technology that security experts have warned could be handing China intelligence. The towers could also potentially allow Beijing to mount network attacks. The tech is shunned by major US wireless carriers and the federal government, but widely deployed in a number of smaller wireless carriers. In some cases, those cell networks provide coverage to rural areas near US military bases. Ooh. Maybe that's something we should look into. It's almost like if you made it to where everyone had free, fast cell service, it wouldn't be a problem, right? I mean, yeah, but that's socialism. Evil. Land purchase. Federal officials have also investigated Chinese land purchases near critical infrastructure. Since 2017, the U.S. has shut down a regional consulate believed to be a hotbed of Chinese spies and also stonewalled what it saw as efforts to plant listening devices near sensitive facilities. The U.S. also nixed plans for Beijing to build an ornate Chinese garden at the National Arboretum. Yeah, it's like for trees. In Washington, D.C., intelligence officials warned it would have been a perfect place to conduct surveillance near the U.S. Capitol. I mean, maybe, or maybe they just want a cool little Chinese thing that, like, with the trees. They like trees. It's okay. You know, whatever. Students, business people, and scientists. CNN has also reported that Beijing has used expatriate? We learn here. Person who lives outside. Okay, so yeah, expatriate. Exactly. Okay. And it's exactly what it sounds like someone that's not a national. That's okay. Beijing has used expatriate Chinese scientists, business people, and even students as spies in the US, according to current and former US intelligence officials. There have been a number of high-profile arrests in cases of this kind. Okay. So yeah, think we all knew that one. All right. The suspected surveillance balloon is now above Charlotte, CNN affiliate shows. The suspected Chinese spy balloon appears to be drifting further eastward in North Carolina and is now over Charlotte, according to aerial footage from CNN affiliate WSOC. All right, so it looks like it's just continuing. Okay, so this is its like projected path. And right now, so this is North Carolina. So I think they said it's a little bit further inland than they thought it would be by now. And maybe a little more north, I want to say. But yeah, so like it's currently leaving. Like it's getting out of here, right? So what I would say is that if it doesn't get out of here, like by the end of today, it's probably a good idea to like pop it off somehow. I'm sure there's a way for us to like engage it. I'm sure we have aircraft that could get underneath of that that like attached thing, you know, and maybe move it. But I don't know. Again, I'm not like some military expert, but military experts are telling Biden don't shoot it down. So generally speaking, when I'm ignorant about a topic, I trust people that have dedicated their entire lives to it rather than, you know, like a reporter from CNN, some dude on YouTube. I know that's not the way for everyone, but how I do it. All right. Let's see how the Associated Press covers it. So CNN covered it pretty well. Lots of frivolous stuff in CNN's coverage of it. It felt like we were kind of going on like a magic school bus journey through all of the different things that could happen. You know, almost like it was like people following like gossip, you know what I mean? Like, oh wow, where's Kim Kardashian today? Oh, she's here. That's the spy balloon, you know? All right. China plays down Blinken's canceled visit over balloon. Okay, this is their top story. You can see the other stories, right? Top story. Look at this. China plays down Blinken's canceled visit over balloon. This is why I love the Associated Press. Okay? They are not fucking around with you. China plays down Blinken's canceled visit over balloon. China plays down Blinken's canceled visit over balloon. They're not playing games with you, okay? All right. Taipei, Taiwan, Associated Press. China played down the cancellation of a visit by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Antony. Like, anyone ever see the, what is it? There's a Sylvester Stallone movie where he's like a mobster. Sylvester Stallone on mobster comedy. It's so funny. I can't remember what the name of it. Oscar. It was Oscar. Okay. Duh. Yes. Excellent. Okay. In Oscar, his daughter is trying to marry some dude named Anthony, and he's always like calling him, "Hey, little Anthony, hey Anthony." It's hilarious, right? Pisses Anthony off, you know. But anyway, Antony Blinken, which is how it's actually spelled, Anthony. After a large Chinese balloon suspected of conducting surveillance on U.S. military sites roiled diplomatic relations, saying that neither side had formally announced such a plan. Oof. In actuality, the US and China have never announced any visit. The US making any such announcement is their own business, and we respect that, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in the statement this Saturday morning. So, Blinken was like, yeah, after this shenanigans, we're not going to come over. We're not friends right now, China. All right? Gee, we're not buddies. I'm not coming over. We're not hanging out, right? And the response from China was, well, actually, we were never friends anyway, so I don't know what you're talking about. Just straight up claiming there wasn't anything going on. Like, nah, they weren't coming over anyway. Hey, man, I can't come over. My mom said I can't come over. Yeah, well, I didn't invite you over anyway. I don't even know what you're talking about. Ridiculous, dude. Blinken was due to visit Beijing on Sunday for talks aimed at reducing US-China tensions, the first such high-profile trip after countries' leaders met last November in Indonesia. But the US abruptly canceled the trip after the discovery of a huge balloon, despite China's claim that it was merely a weather research airship, like from fucking Final Fantasy, that had blown off course. The Pentagon rejected that out of hand, as well as China's contention that the balloon was not being used for surveillance and had only limited navigational ability. I mean, it changed course, so uncensored reactions on the Chinese internet mirrored the official government stance that the US was hyping up the situation. Many users made jokes about the balloon. Some said that since the US had put restrictions on the technology that China is able to buy to weaken the Chinese tech industry, they couldn't control the balloon. Listen, you guys are the ones that said that we couldn't do anything. Jesus. Others called it the Wandering Balloon, a pun that refers to a newly released Chinese sci-fi film called The Wandering Earth 2. Man, people in China got memes, don't they? Still, others used it as a chance to poke fun at US defenses, saying it couldn't even defend against a balloon. Oh no! And nationalist influencers leapt to use the news to mock the US. One wrote, "Really? What the fuck does this mean?" I have no idea what the fuck that means. Riley? Really? Like, that's how you spell that? That is awful. That is an awful word. No one should use that word. This is a travesty. This is, you know how like you rile someone up? Like, yeah, that's what this is. Rile E. Yeah, this is a travesty to humanity that word exists. Um English speakers should commit seppuku for allowing this to happen. The US, because of the balloon incident, delays Blinken's visit to China. Censorship was visible on the topic. The wandering balloon hashtag on Weibo was no longer searchable by Saturday evening. The US is hyping this as a national security threat posed by China to the US. This type of military threat, in actuality, we haven't done this. And compared with the US military threat normally aimed at us, can you say it's just little? Their surveillance planes, their submarines, their naval ships are all coming near our borders. Chinese military expert Chen Haoyang, one of those, Haoyang, of the Taihe Institute said on Phoenix TV, one of the major national TV outlets. The balloon was spotted earlier over Montana, which is home to one of America's 3 nuclear missile silo fields at the Malmstrom Air Force Base. Oof. Okay, so everybody's got a point here, okay? Everybody's got a point. The US clearly should not have a Chinese spy over top of nuclear capabilities. Like, that's bad, right? And also, we probably shouldn't have all sorts of spy stuff around them. Like, this is what I mean. Like, spying is not a good thing. It happens. We all know it happens, and there's nothing we can do to prevent it. But, like, probably not good, right? That's what I'm thinking, generally. Not good. So I think, again, like, this is like the thing that was happening with Steven Crowder, where everybody has a point. Everybody is fine and justified, okay? President Joe Biden had declined to shoot down the balloon following advice of defense officials who worried the debris could injure people below. In a brief remark Saturday, in response to a reporter, Biden said, "We are going to take care of it." Meanwhile, people with binoculars and telephoto lenses tried to find the spy balloon in the sky as it headed southeastward over Kansas and Missouri, 60,000 feet. It was spotted Saturday morning over North Carolina as it neared the Atlantic coast. Pentagon also acknowledged reports of a second flying balloon over Latin America. We now assess it is another Chinese surveillance balloon, Brigadier General Pat Ryder, Pentagon press secretary, said in a statement. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs did not immediately respond to a question about the second balloon. Blinken, who had been due to depart Washington for Beijing late Friday, said he had told senior Chinese diplomat Wang Yi in a phone call that sending the balloon over the U.S. was an irresponsible act and that China's decision to take this action on the eve of my visit is detrimental to the substantive discussions that we were prepared to have. Which makes sense. Yeah, if like you're trying to have peace talks with somebody, you're trying to have like diplomatic communication between you and another country, one of the worst things you can do is throw spy shit over there right beforehand. That seems pretty bad, right? Like the only thing I think worse would be like a missile or like declaring war. So yeah, pretty bad. That doesn't look good. China has denied any claims of spying and said it is a civilian-use balloon intended for meteorology research. Experts have said that their response was feasible. I don't know about you, but like I don't see how reasonable a civilian, like this thing's huge. It like if we're talking civilians, we're talking like Elon Musk level, like China's Elon Musk level of fucking rich civilian, because Jesus Christ. And then why would you have to send it all the way over to the US? Like why is it in US airspace? Especially because it could have been reported ahead of time, right? If like let's say Elon Musk shoots a rocket in and it's coming back down and looks like the trajectory is going to land in Chinese airspace, like they're going to notify China that there is an American craft in Chinese airspace that was an incidental craft, right? But we weren't notified on this. So kind of looks like you're spying, my guy. Analysts said the unexpected incident will not help the strained ties between the two countries, and particularly China's initial response where it said they could not control the balloon and regretted that it unintentionally entered US airspace. On Saturday, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs again emphasized that the balloon's journey was out of its control and urged the US not to smear it based on the balloon. I'm sorry, my guy, but like, it is your balloon and it is in US airspace. And you didn't give us a warning. So, kind of looks like you're trying to spy. It's also equipped with literal surveillance technology. So, like, kind of looks like you're spying, my guy. Wang said China has always strictly followed international law. Yeah, the US does it too. We all do. Nazi Germany followed very strictly international law. No, almost no country on the earth today follows international law strictly. Get out of here. We do not accept any groundless speculation and hype. Faced with unexpected situations, both parties need to keep calm, communicate in a timely manner, avoid misjudgments, and manage differences. They're not wrong, but that sounds a lot like someone that got caught, right? Like, you know, someone's like wife catches them cheating and they're like, honey, baby, listen, we just got to talk this out, right? We got to stay calm, okay? You're so angry. We just got to be calm and talk it out. Like, you fucked up. Like, let's be real. You fucked up. Alfred Wu, an associate professor at the National University of Singapore, said China's apology did not appear sincere. You don't think, huh? In the meantime, the relationship will not improve in the near future. The gap is huge. So, again, man, Associated Press just knocks it out of the park with their reporting. They covered all the details, right? We go through, they covered all the details. China's opinion on it, China's statements on it, the US's statements on it, the US's opinions on it, and what the impact is. Like, they knocked it out of the park with no nonsense headlines. We're not getting like, China claims that the US is a terrorist organization because balloon was actually filled with orphans. Like, we're not getting some nonsense like that, like we would from, you know, Fox News and CNN. So, and it's the same on their homepage. So, I'm just always impressed with the Associated Press, man. The Associated Press is where to go if you want, like, you're looking for somewhere to get your news from and you don't know which of these you should trust. I think this is the one, right? Every time I look at the Associated Press, I am shown just levels of transparency that are phenomenal. Love it, right? I'm gonna sing its praises forever. Get your news from the Associated Press, right?